So everyone, this is the first message of the week that we have from Ed, something that I've been looking forward to for quite some time. So without further ado, let me go ahead and mute my microphone and turn this over to Ed.
Thank you very much, Derek and Carmen and Bill. Great to hear from you guys always. I'll apologize a bit in advance. Derek had asked me to do this last week, and I was going to prepare something for this week, but I had the awesome opportunity to pass a kidney stone this week, so I was otherwise occupied in that process, which was definitely gave me lots of opportunity for contemplation and observation. So maybe I'll write something about that next. But in lieu of that, what I'm going to do is read off to you, basically verbatim, a message that I send out and give you a little bit of a background on this. Quite some time ago, I wanted to make sure that part of what we do as students of martial art is not leave one of the most important parts of that practice behind, which is the underlying philosophy. We really believe that the study of movement and the practice of movement yields insight into the philosophical underpinnings of the practice. And in order to facilitate that, I send out a message of the week to the students pretty much every week. I got out of the practice a little bit as we were putting the new center together because it took so much work and I was otherwise occupied, but several months ago I began sending it out again. And one of the places that I started was going through the Kuan Tao Principles. And I went through each of those as Derek had translated them and added something of my own understanding and used those essentially as a framework by which I could communicate to our students some of these underlying Tao principles. It so happens that the one from last week, or the week before actually, was a summary, the final Kuan Tao principle, which is to transform the world into great unity by pursuing this path to bring the world into a state of harmony, equality, fraternity, and justice. So I'm just going to read this to you, and then I'll give you a couple of little highlights, commentaries afterwards. This week marks the end of our analysis of the 21 principles that come from Kuan Tao. As you see, the last principle comes back to the one, or the great unity. If we're to practice principles such as these, regardless of our culture, geography, ethnicity, philosophy, and religion, it stands to reason that the barriers of divisiveness would stand between people of all backgrounds would melt away. As the Dalai Lama says, we all just want to be happy. And how can we be happy? We live a healthy, happy, creative life. And how do we do that? Through following all of the other steps we identified over the past months. In my opinion, no one has the market cornered on good sense. And no one has the market cornered on universal truth either. I'll add a little commentary on this here. These steps are an integral part of my personal practice, but I also find that through the study of various wisdom traditions, both from the East and West, there are a great deal of similarities that help to enhance my own personal practice and my ability to relate to both the world seen and unseen and the people who inhabit it. So my personal choice is not to negate any other potential path that may have come up through another tradition, but to try to make use of those and to get a bit more perspective on kind of a broader truth, I think, and that personally helps me in that way. In order to illustrate that, one of the things that I thought of is that we simply have to look at the night sky. When we look at the night sky, we all are sort of captured with this sense of awe that comes from that. And when we recognize that there are 300 billion stars in our galaxy alone, and it's estimated that there are 100 to 200 billion galaxies in our observable universe, and that's observable. I mean, think about the immensity of that. If we can even wrap around that concept, then we surely must recognize that the belief systems that have grown up with the cultures that inhabit this small planet in the midst of this immense expanse of space and time must surely be somewhat limited. However, these beliefs emanate from the same source, the source that can be called by many names. But is the name really that important? Are the customs and the rituals so important that they override common sense, decency, respect, and the simple awareness that we all come from the same origin? These topics are certainly not easy. They're deep philosophical concepts that bear contemplation. But in the final analysis, it seems really simple. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And cats notwithstanding, the analogy says it all. Live and let live, and love and let live. So to me, when I hear one particular person or particular tradition which states that they feel as though there's a sense of mutual exclusivity, where that there is the market cornered, and that only this path will lead to God, or only this path will lead to the truth, I question that, simply because when we look at the broad scope of the universe, how could that possibly be? How could any being that has not been exposed to the teaching of another simply because of locality, how can that person be excluded from that universal truth? To me, it just simply doesn't make sense. So from my perspective, and from what I understand the Tao perspective to be, we look at things from a broader sense, or in a broader sense, and that way we can really come to learn all of this together and make use of those wisdom traditions from all over our small planet, and hopefully begin to find a sense of unity within that. So that's my quick message of the week, and thank you, Derek, for allowing me to share this, and I look forward to speaking to you guys soon.